invite you out to introduce our guest speaker.
My privilege to introduce our speakers today. We haven't heard from First Five Humboldt for quite a while, and they're here to tell us, remind us about this important organization that promotes the education of us all about the importance of early childhood in our future citizens. We have here today the former executive director, Wendy Rowan, and the former commissioner, Sadiq Kilkenny. And they are now both retired, and there's an organization they formed of retirees from First Five Humboldt called First Five Futures. So they're part of that organization, and they're here to tell us more about the importance of First Five Humboldt. So please welcome our two speakers.
Well, I want to thank you all for having us today. As Howard said, Sadiq and I are part of we're a small little group of retirees that really care a lot about the development of young children. Our group consists of a former member of the Board of Supervisors, 3 early childhood educators, a social worker, a public health nurse, and myself. And we've been very focused on how to engage all of Humboldt in growing young brains, and also how to help sustain the essential work of First Five Humboldt. And we're starting our efforts by speaking to service clubs like you all, and it's been really fun for us to be here this morning and just kind of feel how you all are together. And we're inviting folks to consider how you can become champions for young children in the community. So to begin, the science of how we become who we are. 90% of crucial brain development happens within the first 5 years of life. It happens prenatally. It happens in infancy, during toddlerhood, and at the preschool age. Economists have quantified investment in prenatal and early childhood programs, and these yield clear returns. Communities and individuals make investments in early childhood. Parents make decisions every day about the resources of time, interpersonal connections, and education for their children. Our policymakers make decisions about allocating resources to families for young children. Time and money spent enhancing the child's future health, cognitive ability, and productive social behavior are real investments in a community's future. A nurturing family life, available health care, quality child care, and education opportunities foster healthy brain development. And it's important to think about that eventually these young children will contribute to the health of the community. This baby is learning not only by hearing a story and seeing a picture book, but also by the secure attachment created by his dad and the sound of Dad's voice. The earliest learning is social and emotional. It's the foundation for all learning, and it's grounded in that secure attachment between the parent and the child. Early experiences and relationships impact and shape the neural circuitry of the brain. So much happens before a child enters school. And conversely, exposure to toxic stress can weaken the architecture of the developing brain, and diminish a child's potential. This dad is at a First 5 playgroup. He's watching and encouraging his young children at play. They're learning to cooperate. They're learning about empathy and sharing. Attentiveness, persistence, and the ability to work with others, sometimes labeled as soft skills, are essential for success in life and for strong leaders for our future. And for those of you that hire employees that need good workers, you know that these skills are really important, and you also know that sometimes they're very hard to find. Nobel laureate and economics professor James Heckman has spent decades researching and quantifying the benefits of early childhood programs and supports. We're talking about benefits for the individual, like increased lifetime earnings and better adult health. And we're talking about benefits for society, like youth who are better prepared for careers and reduced cost to society for things like criminal justice. I really encourage you to take a look at Dr. Heckman's work. Howard told me you all don't like academic things. I totally get that, and that's fine. And and we refer to him in the brochure that we gave you, and you can Google him. He's very easy to find. He has an excellent website, heckmanequation.org, and this is a quote that I'm just going to read from him that really kind of sums it all up. Early childhood programs pay dividends for life. We see savings as early as kindergarten, reduced burdens on the schools. We see savings in the teenage years, and we see a direct link to higher adult productivity and self-sufficiency. So our understanding of brain development and the value of investing in early childhood is the foundation for the work of First 5 Humboldt. And I'd like to get a sense of how many of you are familiar with First 5 programs. Okay, all right, that's good. Well, we recently just celebrated the 20th anniversary of the passage of Proposition 10 in California. Proposition 10 levied a 50-cent tax on all tobacco products sold in the state and directed those monies to programs and services for children aged 0 to 5 and their families. And 0 means basically pregnant women. Implementation here in Humboldt included the creation and support of programs, often in partnership with other entities who were also charged to serve young children and their families, and in some cases the development of entirely new programs. So First 5 Humboldt focused on developing programs that would really respond to local needs. We didn't just take a directive from the state. And to do this, we went out in communities throughout Humboldt County, and I mean throughout Humboldt County, even in very remote areas. And we met with parents of young children, and we asked them a very simple question. What is it that would help you raise your young children? And the really interesting thing was, regardless of geography, regardless of socioeconomic status, they all said the same thing. We want safe, family-friendly places to come together with other parents who have young children so that we can receive some mutual support for our parenting, some guidance for our parenting, and some social, emotional, and enrichment opportunities for our young children. We also at that time consulted with local professionals working with young children and their families. Sadiq was one of those people as a former director of Head Start, Early Head Start. And we were fortunate to have access to some significant national experts from the fields of child health, early childhood care and education, and family strengthening. And the result was the creation of playgroups throughout the county. Presently, there are 20 playgroups in Humboldt. They are hugely popular, and they consistently show good evaluation results. Given First Five Humboldt was charged with oversight of the expenditure of these funds and to ensure that funded programs would actually benefit young children, evaluation has been important from the beginning. All programs are evaluated annually, and it's particularly helpful for ongoing programs because we learn from evaluation and then we can improve those programs to be truly more responsive to young children here in our community. And as I said, many of our programs are done in partnership with other entities, and a good example of that is the Humboldt County Library. Early on, we went to the library and we said, how can we help you to make the libraries more family-friendly for young children and their families? Because you know, libraries, you gotta be quiet, right? So we worked with them, and beyond providing some resources for the purchase of additional books or furniture or puppetry and those sorts of things, some new programs were started, and a really popular one is a program called Baby Read and Grow, where parents with really young children come for like a story time, and if you go to the library, it's always packed. It's really, really full, and with grandparents and their grandkids also, they go to that. And what's interesting about it is it's obviously kind of an early literacy kind of program, but once again, it brings people together, right, for that kind of mutual support. So it's really also a family strengthening program as well as an early literacy program. And the library and we have evaluated this work over, almost 20 years now. And the really interesting thing is that the data shows this. Last year, for example, that 85% of kids in this county are read to every day, and that's a significant result from work like this. Now, we also pay attention to local data, and our poverty rates are a good example of that. 17.3% of our kids live in poverty, compared to 12.8% for California as a whole. And we know that poverty has a negative impact on the factors that are important for healthy child development. So what to do? The work of First Five Humboldt is holistic and aspirational. While they do work on behalf of all young children in the county, they also focus on those who lack the resources they need to achieve their potential. They concentrate on preventing problems, preventing trauma, and promoting resiliency within families that are struggling. They believe that the community surrounding the child and the family is essential for their well-being. So they strive to build community capacity to strengthen families through education and partnerships. And this is where you can have an important role. We're looking for individuals and organizations that can help provide healthy and enriching experiences for young children in the community. We're looking for people to be champions for young children in the community. And some of the ways that you can help are listed in the brochure that we're giving you, and I'll invite you to open it up to the center, if you would. Engage with families with young children. Read every day to your children and grandkids. Care for grandkids so that their parents can go to work or have a night out. Take a casserole over to a neighbor with a newborn. Or use your skills. Build bookshelves for a Head Start program. So many items for an early childhood education program, or volunteer to read to children at the library. Lead a fundraising effort. Suggest that your service club or group fundraise to support early childhood programs and activities. Or advocate. Help to influence policy and regulations to assure that affordable childcare is available, that neighborhood playgrounds are safe and accessible, or for safe driving speeds around schools and preschools. And if you're fortunate enough to have some resources, you can donate to a fund, that the First Five Humboldt Fund, that's been established at the Humboldt Area Foundation. To address concerns for young children in our county and to maximize their potential, we need to expect to work for the long term. Effective prevention efforts cannot be done through short-term funded projects, and it takes time to achieve results. Recognizing this, First Five Humboldt set aside funds for the future in a sustainability fund. Essentially, it's a protected endowment fund that was established with public money, which is very, very innovative. But as tobacco monies continue to decline, which we knew they would, which is a good thing because that means that people are, decreasing the smoking. Our group, First Five Futures, is striving to match sustainability fund monies with private contributions so that the First Five work can effectively continue throughout the county. We believe that engaging communities is essential to further the healthy development of young children into the future. We encourage you to help with this work in whatever way that's appropriate for you. And for organizations that have historically supported programs and activities for school-age children, we just want to invite you to consider how that you could help the children in your community to thrive earlier in their development, for their benefit and for the community's benefit. So I know I've given you a lot of information earlier this morning, and I can't help it, but I really appreciate you listening, and I'd be pleased to answer any questions that you might have.
I have a question. When we were having children, when my wife became pregnant, we were fortunate to connect with other couples who were in a similar situation, and so we met weekly and gave each other support through pregnancies. And then after birth, that continued for years. We even still have reunions with these local friends that we have. And so I'm just wondering if your organization is encouraging that, and not all couples who are pregnant may be so fortunate to just naturally connect with others.
That's a great question, and I couldn't receive a better question. Thank you, Howard. Because what you're referring to is kind of an informal support that kind of organically came together. In the era that we live in with the fast pace of life, those kinds of situations, just happen less and less. And that's really what the playgroups provide. The playgroups are this point in time when the parents come together with their young children, and they receive that kind of support and guidance, and their kids have these opportunities. But we know that relationships happen out of those playgroups. That outside the playgroup, they help with babysitting, they go to birthday parties, the kids may enter the same school, and they keep a relationship. And my personal example about the value of that is that my daughter also, I and my daughter experienced that similar thing when my daughter was born, and she's 35 now. And the interesting thing is we kept a bond with one family in particular all the way through those kids graduating from college. And my daughter and one daughter went to school on the East Coast. And when they graduated from college, what did they want? They said, basically, we want a little trip across the U.S. in my husband's van so that we can have a little celebration and experience after we graduate. And to me, it was really a testimony to that very early connection and what that support did for the raising of our children together. So the playgroups are an opportunity and a little bit more formalized way to offer that to families, and so they can secure that.
Could I add something?
Yes, absolutely, speak.
One of the wonderful things about the playgroups is that they're locally based. So it's those people in that community that are doing it. What happens in addition to the bonding, and this is what First Five has been able to provide the playgroups, is education and information. So not only are those parents getting together with their children, but they're also having an opportunity to learn about nutrition, to learn about health, to learn about early childhood development activities that they could do with their children, a whole range of things, and develop connections so that if they need help, they know where to go. Because frequently, one of the things that happens, especially with families with young children, is they can sometimes be very isolated. And if you're a young mom who may be a single mom, you don't know where to go. And those play groups it's this mom talking to that mom, talking to another mom under the umbrella of these people that have had experience, these glue people that have had experience in helping people connect and say, well, you know, you should make a call over here. This may help you with getting shoes for your kids. You know, pretty simple stuff, but it's pretty neat. So it's pretty basic. And the idea, what I think the reason why I'm standing here is that these playgroups were developed about 25 years ago, and we want to keep them going. We just want to keep them going because they're working, and they don't cost very much, but the benefit is extraordinary.
So how do people find out about these playgroups?
Oh,
You're the
you
single
can-
mom and you're...
Yeah. You could go to the First Five Humboldt website, and there's a whole section on playgroups, and they tell you where they happen and what the hours are and how many times a week, and we do encourage grandparents who have grandchildren. If you know, very often we have a lot of grandparents who are helping take care of grandkids, to take advantage of them because we found that they've become a gathering place for grandparents as well. So yeah, First Five Humboldt website.
I wanted to say too, for anyone who has folks visiting, you said grandparents, aunts and uncles. My cousin came for 2.5 weeks with a 2- and a 4-year-old, and I found those playgroups and was there every week. It was wonderful just to have all the games laid out and song circle and stuff that you just don't have in your house. If you've got kids visiting, take them, give a nice donation. It was wonderful.
And is there an age limit?
0 to 5. Yeah, so before formal schooling. Yeah. Pregnant women and children up to the age through 5 until they turn 6.
I don't know if it's appropriate or not for the play groups, but do you partner with like the senior resource center or you know, like Timber Ridge or something, so that their grandparents are really important in development, I think, and you know, having them there.
You raised a really important question, or a really important point. You know, when I showed the slide up there with the dad with the young child, basically what we're talking about beyond parents are caring adults, and grandparents are obviously another caring adult. You know, that neural circuitry happens in an interactive, use-dependent way with a caring adult. So years ago, we did do a project with the senior center, and we actually, the result of that was to develop some guidelines and competencies about how to welcome grandparents into the playgroup. We learned a lot about what grandparents need, particularly the ones that are primary caregivers, and how to be more inclusive with the playgroups. And one of the things we learned is there were issues around nutrition for both of these populations. So then that led to a nutrition component in those playgroups where we were really focused on getting kind of grandparents in there. And over the years we learned a lot from that, and now it's just kind of normalized in all the playgroups. So that was kind of a one-time project for about 3 years that really helped us flush a lot of that out, that continues to benefit all 20 playgroups.
Last spring, the Senior News, I don't know how familiar are you with the Senior News? They did a whole layout and spread on volunteering in early childhood education. It was really so they're really a partner. They're a partner of ours.
Wendy, Sadiq, thank you very much. I want to recognize, thank you for coming and visiting with us today. We did make a donation on your behalf to the Wheelchair Foundation.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's very generous. And it really was lovely to be here this morning, listening to all that you do. When we thought about starting this effort, it just seems like groups like this it's the kind of thing that makes the world go round. So I feel really privileged to be here, and thank you for your attention and all the good things that you do.
Thank you.